Salvēte, omnēs. Hi everybody. Let's dive straight in. The nouns we have been using so far all ended in a, and these are typically feminine nouns. For example, Discipula and Magistra mean female student and female teacher, respectively. However, in languages there are exceptions to every rule, and Agricola and Poēta are actually masculine nouns even though they end in a. So can you guess what Discipulus studet means? Discipulus studet. That's right, the male student studies. Using what you know so far, try to guess how to say, I see the male student. Discipulam video. Discipulam video. Do you remember how to say the farmer reads the poet's letter? Agricola epistulam poētae legit. Agricola epistulam poētae legit. Now let's change it to the male student's letter. Agricola epistulam discipuli legit. The us changes to e. Agricola epistulam discipuli legit. Another pair like Discipula and Discipulus is amīca and amīcus. And an amicable person is someone you would call a friend. What does this say? Replace the B with a V in your mind. Amīcam habet. Amīcam habet. That's right, I have a male friend. Now say, the male student has a female friend. Discipulus amīcam habet. Discipulus amīcam habet. Since it was habeo with an e before the o, we know that it's habet with an e. And what does this tell us about the case 2? Say you have the farmer's letter. Epistulam Agricolae habes. Epistulam Agricolae habes. The e in habeo tells us it will be habes with a long a. If you like jargon, the nouns that end in a are called nouns of the first declension, and the nouns that we're learning now are called nouns of the second declension. But there are also a few irregularities, like the following second declension noun. Can you guess what the following sentence means? Poēta librum scrībet. Poēta librum scrībet. A library contains many books, right? This means the poet writes a book. If we look at this table, we can see that this word is regular in all but the first case, where it doesn't end in us. This is called the nominative case because it names or nominates the noun. Another regular second declension noun is Gladius. A hint to the meaning is that a gladiator uses this to fight with. A gladius is a sword. Say, the male student has a sword. Discipulus gladium habet. Discipulus gladium habet. Just as an illustration, can you think of how to say the sword's male friend? Gladii amīcus or amīcus gladii. Both are correct. Remember, only the us gets dropped, so it's gladii. And the more sensible male friend's sword would be amīci gladius or gladius amīci. Now we're going to introduce our first irregular verb, the Latin word for to be. Agricola est poēta. The farmer is a poet, so is est in Latin. Pretty easy to remember, right? Note that both nouns are in the nominative case. The be verb is like an equal sign. Agricola equals poēta. So both nouns are in the same case. This is also often written Agricola poēta est. When talking about our friends, we don't usually say the student is friend. We add the word my. When we want to add this word in Latin, though, it has to be declined, just like an adjective. So the female student is my friend would be Discipula est amīca mea. Discipula est amīca mea. And the male student is my friend would be Discipulus est amicus meus. Discipulus est amicus meus. Do you remember how to say beautiful? Try to say the teacher is beautiful. Magistra est pulchra, or Magistra pulchra est. Because est is like an equal sign, the adjective matches the noun. So when we have a male noun, pulchra will change form, but it declines like liber, not amicus. Thus, the male student is beautiful is Discipulus pulcher est. Discipulus pulcher est. It's a little strange, but adjectives decline according to the gender of the noun, not necessarily the noun's ending. So, recalling that this refers to a male, how would we say the poet is beautiful? Poēta pulcher est. Poēta pulcher est. And the same would go for Agricola. Do you remember the word for big? It declines just like amīcus. Try to say the farmer is big. Agricola magnus est. Agricola magnus est. The Latin for you are is tu es. Easy enough to remember. Say to a woman now, you are a student. Tu es discipula. Tu es discipula. Did you remember to match the gender of the noun to the you in the sentence? Say to a man now, you are the male student's friend. Amīcus discipuli es. Amīcus discipuli es. Remember, the words can come in any order, but for the sake of time I'll only give one combination. I am has yet another form in Latin, ego sum. Say, I am a big student. Magnus discipulus sum. If you're a male, and if you're a female, magna discipula sum. The genders make it a little difficult, but after a while they will come naturally. Now, if you have the potential to do something, then you are able to or can do it. In Latin, this is pot, plus the verb for to be. Possum, I can. Potest, you can. Potest, he, she, it can. Can you see the forms of to be attached to this verb? Possum, potest, potest. Note that the T changes to S in the first person case. Let's try to use this now to say, the poet can write well. Think back to the story from the last lesson. Poēta bene scrībere potest. Poēta bene scrībere potest. Do you remember how to say, but no one reads it? Sed nemo legit. Now say, my friend can't read. Amīcus meus non potest legere. Notice that we can reverse the order of the verbs because of the flexible word order. The following word came to English from French instead of Latin, but it's still easy to see the connection between desire and desiderare. This word means desire, want, and to miss someone, among other things. What does this mean? Amīcam desidero. Amīcam desidero. I desire a friend. And for the next story, we will need the word for girl, which is puella. Leaving the word for he unstated, say, he desires the girl. Puellam desiderat. Puellam desiderat. Now say, the poet is not a girl. Poēta puella non est. Poēta puella non est. You read the girl's letter. Epistulam puellae legis. Epistulam puellae legis. Did you get the endings right? Now we're ready for this lesson's story. However, this story is a little longer and will therefore be concluded in the next lesson. In this story, we'll also see a preview of what's to come in the following lesson, but you'll be able to guess the meaning of these words. Also, Jupiter is the name of Zeus in Latin, and Europa was one of the many human girls he chased after. Jupiter est Deus, et in Olympo habitat. Terram spectat, et puellam Europam videt. Europa pulchra est, et Jupiter puellam desiderat. Jupiter se in taurum transformat, quod Europa est timida. Were you able to guess the meaning of this first sentence? It means Jupiter is a deity and lives in Olympus. Habitat should be pretty obvious from the words habitat and inhabit. And can you guess the meaning of the word terra from the English word subterranean? It means earth, and spectat is what a spectator does. So terram spectat means watches the earth. Then we see the sentence we just learned, puellam desiderat. But did you notice something weird? The name Europa conjugated. It's weird, but names in Latin can conjugate just like regular nouns. But back to the story. This little word, se, in the next sentence means himself. It's a reflexive pronoun, but don't worry about it for now. That's a more advanced topic. But did you guess what a taurus is? This is one of the constellations represented by a bull. And do you remember this word quod from the last story? It means because, so this last sentence can be translated, Jupiter transforms himself into a bull because Europa is timid. It's pretty convenient that we could guess about 1/3 of the words in this story from English, isn't it? We'll see how the story ends in the next lesson. If you like these lessons, please consider supporting this channel on Patreon. There's a link below. And be sure to like, subscribe, and share. Gratias!